Well, Eclipse Day is here, and thousands are making their way into mid-Missouri for the solar spectacle. Good afternoon. I'm Dick Preston. You're watching a KRCG 13 special, Eclipse 2017. We have live team coverage from across the area as we prepare for a total solar eclipse. KRCG 13's Kaylee Peterson is at Cosmo Park in Columbia. Stephanie Harada is at the state capitol in Jefferson City. Elise Smith is at the Gans Creek Recreation Area in Columbia. And later, Meghan Lane will join meteorologist Will Haney from outside our studio at the weather deck. First, though, Will is standing by with our forecast for totality. Will?
Yes, Dick, we were talking about it all morning long. There were some mid to high level clouds in the area. Really, that's still the story, but there is a little bit of an area of mid-Missouri seeing some precipitation. You can see scattered showers and thunderstorm activity stretching all the way from Kansas up into Iowa, portions of north central Illinois. So we look a little bit closer at mid-Missouri. Places like Marshall, Brunswick, you're seeing some light precipitation and also more overcast mid to high level clouds. And there is some lightning just north of Saline County. So that is something to watch out for if you're going to be watching up north of Highway 24. But most of the area still dry and seeing mostly clear skies. And the cloud cover that's out there still that upper level clouds. So really shouldn't limit our visibility all that much. Here's the visualization of what it'll actually look like as we approach totality. When we're 100% eclipsed, you'll actually be able to make out stars. Look for Jupiter and Venus in the bottom left-hand portion of the sun and in the upper right-hand portion. Really, really cool. Our temperatures will actually fall to around 82. And as you see that sun creep around the edge of the moon, that's when you got to put those glasses right back on. We'll have an hour-by-hour forecast for your eclipse and a look at that precipitation up north coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Will. Well, as events continue to wind down following totality, traffic will also be picking up. KRCG 13's Kaylee Peterson is joined by one of the organizers of that event at Columbia's Cosmo Park.
Well, Dick, Eclipse Day is finally here, and as totality approaches, a lot of people are getting into the Columbia area. I'm here at Cosmo. I'm joined by Mike Shoup from MoDOT Central District. Now, Mike, how have you guys been prepping for this day?
You know, it's pretty much all hands on deck as far as our boots on the ground forces. We don't have any work going on any of our roads as far as maintenance or construction projects. So we wanted the roads to be as open as possible for the people that want to travel to the eclipse. We've got all our vehicles staffed up with coolers of water, some food, gasoline cans for people that get stuck out on the highway. We're not really noticing anything too bad right now. There is some traffic moving into Columbia, but nothing out of the ordinary, and it's no worse than a game day right now.
Yes, that was my next question. How is traffic right now, and where are these more problematic areas?
We really haven't seen any problematic areas. We have shut down some rest areas due to their at capacity as far as the number of people that are there. On I-35, I know they started out this morning. You know, some of the people will be traveling just due to the fact that it's cloudy or it's raining. It was raining in Kansas City earlier this morning, so we look to see a little bit more traffic headed east. One forecast I heard said the best line of sight was east of 54 due to clear skies, so we may see more people converging on Jeff City as the day goes on.
Yeah, and what tips do you have for people that are out there on the roads or who maybe get stuck on the roads?
You know, the number one thing is take your time. I know everybody wants to be where they're going, but don't pull off on the shoulder. Don't stop on the road. Be looking for pedestrians. I had a report of a pedestrian crossing Interstate 70 a while ago in Boonville. That's not safe. So we want people to be looking out for themselves and looking out for others. Get off the road if you want to stop to view it, please. Don't be taking pictures of it as you're driving down the road, and don't be wearing your glasses. That's something you probably shouldn't have to say, but we don't want people wearing the Eclipse glasses as they're driving down the highway.
And what types of things is MoDOT doing today for this traffic?
We're monitoring all our signals. We've got our traffic engineers staffed to signals to make sure that we don't have backups onto the interstate system, because that's where you can oftentimes have severe accidents with high-speed traffic and somebody stopped. So we're trying to monitor that, make sure that things are flushing out as best they can. One of the advice we like to give everybody is when totality is over, hang around. Don't everybody try to hit the roads at the same time, because that's when we will experience problems if everybody tries to leave at the same time.
All right, well, thank you so much, Mike, for joining us.
Thank you.
And we will bring you live updates from Cosmo Park throughout the day. Next, around 12:30, we'll be joined by one of the event organizers here at Cosmo Park as more people start to crowd their way into Cosmo Park for that totality. We'll head back to the studio, but for now, reporting live in Columbia, Kaylee Peterson, KRCG 13.
Well, obviously it's cloudy right there at Cosmo Park at this hour. Our KRCG 13 Eye in the Sky flew in the area of Cosmo Park just moments ago. This is a look at the crowds as they began to make their way to the park for eclipse viewing. And you can see the people have already set up a few tents. You saw some in the background there behind Kaylee as well. Parking spots are becoming more sparse as the time of the eclipse is getting closer. Ahead of today's events, we've been expecting some massive amounts of crowds to be coming into the area for one of the best seats to see the eclipse. And once again, looking here from Cosmo Park, from the sky, you can see that there are quite a few people, more than usual. That crowd is still growing right now. It's not as packed as what was expected, and that could be because of the weather, but you can see the tents of vendors and food trucks that are set up along the outer area of the park for some celebration. Some of those vendors probably have some of those eclipse glasses still with them, along with custom t-shirts and other memorabilia set up to sell for this event. Jefferson City has been preparing as well as NASA is taking over the state capitol grounds. Thousands of visitors are already in place in preparation for totality. KRCG 13 Stephanie Harada joins us live from the site. Stephanie, how are things going down there?
Good afternoon, Dick. The first phase of the solar eclipse is underway right now. I'm joined by Chris Hartstein. He's with NASA, and he's here to tell us a little bit more about what is actually happening right now.
So we had first contact, which is C1, happened actually at 11:46, and at that point the moon's disk first started touching and going in front of the sun. So they're not actually touching, obviously, but they're starting the eclipse. We're actually looking for really C2 and C3. That's the beginning and end of totality, which is going to happen at 1:13 and at 1:15. That's the major big point where the sun will be totally blocked out by the moon, where you see a great show. Hopefully the clouds will stay out of our way, and then we'll be able to watch after that time all the way through C4, fourth contact, which is the end of the eclipse, which is going to be happening at 2:41. So the four phases are the real big pieces. Leading up into totality is really where the drama begins, because we will hopefully be able to see a thing they call Bailey's beads, and that's actually the last little bits of sunlight shining through at the profile of the moon. There's some craters on the edges of the moon that the sun will shine through, and we'll be able to see those that look like a beaded necklace on the side that's still lit up. And then eventually we'll get to the diamond ring, which is the very last bead will burst nice and bright, and we'll have the ring of totality, and so they call that the diamond ring effect. And then after that, then we will go into totality. We should see a temperature drop. Notice the temperature drop. We're hoping that maybe some of the birds and the bugs get a little skittery and start having some fun, because they're going to think that it's getting to nighttime in the middle of the day, so they won't have a clue what's going on there. And then from there, we'll be in totality, and we'll actually really have some fun watching we can see the corona, the sun's atmosphere. We should be able to see that, and even maybe see some planets as well.
All right, thank you so much, Chris, for joining us. We do appreciate that. Again, we're under the first phase of the solar eclipse right now, and I'll be giving you guys live coverage from the state capitol grounds throughout our 2-hour coverage. Reporting live at the state capitol, Stephanie Harada, KRCG 13.
Thank you, Stephanie. And you can see there's quite a crowd building at the state capitol. We saw that it was cloudy there in Columbia, and Will is assuring me that those are very high clouds and they won't interfere with a view of the sun from Columbia. Now it's time to take a live look at the sun as shot with a solar filter. This is in Big Summit Prairie, Oregon. It's one of the very first locations in the country to experience totality. Totality is expected within the next few minutes. It looks like a drawing, but this is an actual shot of the sun. Here in mid-Missouri, we'll have to wait about an hour with the shadow moving at about 1,250 miles an hour. This is the first coast-to-coast total solar eclipse in 99 years. People in the 70-mile wide path of totality will get to experience the moon completely blocking out the sun. That path passes completely through Missouri. CBS's Don Champion reports from St. Joseph.
The anticipation started early this morning in St. Joseph, Missouri, as thousands converged on the town for the first coast-to-coast eclipse in nearly 100 years.
So excited. We're kind of geeked out about it.
On the West Coast, the farming town of Madras, Oregon will be the first in the nation to watch the moon completely block out the sun.
I've come, thousands of miles to be here. This area came up as the best place in terms of the weather.
The eclipse will make its way from Oregon to South Carolina before heading out to sea. Even Americans who are not in the path of totality will still get to see a partial eclipse. Carbondale, Illinois will be in the dark the longest for 2 minutes and 40 seconds. The big question here in St. Joseph and other spots along the path of totality is the weather. Some areas could be cloudy or stormy. Lou Pagano and more than 40 other amateur astronomers traveled here from Sydney, Australia.
This is my 5th eclipse. Each one is different.
Astronomers say the solar spectacle is not just a cool phenomenon, it's also a chance for scientists to learn more about the sun.
The corona is incredibly hot, millions of degrees, and astronomers don't understand completely why the corona is so hot.
Experts caution if you do plan to watch this celestial event that you make sure to have special eclipse glasses to protect your eyes. Don Champion, CBS News, St. Joseph, Missouri.
Well, the rest of the country, of course, will see a partial eclipse even in the farthest places from totality path. They'll be able to see nearly a half eclipse. The next total solar eclipse will be visible in the United States some 7 years from now, but it will not be from coast to coast. Once again, here's a live look at the sun. We have a filter on a camera that allows us to show you the progress of the moon across the sun. This is our KRCG camera from Cosmo Park, and we'll check back in with this camera as that eclipse continues. But so far, we can see the entire sun. Well, KRCG 13's meteorologist Elise Smith is stationed at the Gans Creek Recreation Area in Columbia, and she brings us up to date there. Elise?
Hello, Dick. Oh my gosh, it's a great day today. We are here at the Gans Creek Recreation Area, but let me tell you, it is hot and it is humid. But the good news is we do have a little bit of a westerly breeze that is giving just a bit of relief from the heat. But there are people from all walks of life here, from all different states across the United States here to watch the eclipse. Now, the partial eclipse has started, so if you have your glasses, make sure you put them on and witness the start of the eclipse. Here in Columbia, the eclipse is going to start at about 1:12 and last to about 1:14 and 45 seconds p.m. So I'm going to be here with your update, with a weather update of what's happening in Columbia, and also just talking to folks from everywhere here across the United States. Now, of course, there is a little bit of a westerly breeze, so it's giving us some relief, but remember, it's hot and humid, so if you're getting outside, make sure you do bring some water, some snacks as well, because this is going to be one hot eclipse. Back to you guys.
Well, it'll be interesting to see where those guests are from there that are showing up at that site. If you're online today, there's no way that you'll miss out on the excitement. KRCG 13's Elizabeth Hoffman joins us live in our newsroom and tells us what's happening on social media. Elizabeth?
Hey, Dick. Well, the solar eclipse may just be the most live streamed, most Snapchatted, and most selfie event ever. Check out what some people are posting online. JCPD is eclipse ready with their glasses. They're reminding everyone to be patient and to be safe during this exciting event. Clarissa McCauley is our photographer here at KRCG 13. She got her glasses from NASA official David DeFelice. And check out Stephanie Harada. She is also with NASA's David DeFelice. That was during our morning show, Bright and Early. Now you can find all of these posts along with many more on our live blog with KRCG. You can also get in on the fun as well. And you can social media, if you want to add your photos, what you do is post something on social media and add the hashtag KRCGWX to any post. We'll add it to our blog, and Dick, you might just even see it on TV. We'll have more reports of solar eclipse social media fun throughout our special program. And for now, we'll send it back to you in the studio, Dick.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. We'll be checking in with you later, as you say. Still ahead, Will has our full forecast for Eclipse Day. You're watching KRCG 13's 2-hour Eclipse Special.
Drone video has been brought to you by Honda of Jefferson City. Your KRCG 13 Weather Authority forecast.
Welcome back. Here's a live look right now on our Heart of Missouri Chevy dealer Skycam in Columbia. Again, some mid clouds starting to pop up over Jesse Hall, but most of the cloud cover, it's in the higher levels of the atmosphere, about 11,000 to 12,000 feet up. And that sort of cloud cover shouldn't limit our visibility all that much. You can actually still see the sun through it. Sort of just filters it. Temperatures, though, as Elise mentioned, she's out in Columbia. It is downright steamy. If you're not from mid-Missouri, this is some really nice soupy weather for you. We're seeing 89 degrees right now in Columbia, 88 in Jefferson City, 86 degrees. It'll be very interesting to see how this eclipse cools us off. Here's the look right now at the Lake of the Woods exit in Columbia. And as some of the officials mentioned a few moments ago, we're not seeing any serious slowdowns. If you do have any slowdowns to report, or if you just want to share some cool eclipse pictures with me or what you're doing, here's how you can connect with me on social media. Max 13 radar, though, again, most of the shower and storm activity concentrated to the north. In our northwestern region is where we're seeing some precipitation. Some of this white that you see here, I have overlaid satellite, so you can sort of see where the mid to high level cloud cover is currently located. But most of this rain, again, in portions of Sheridan and Saline counties, Randolph County as well now, seeing some spot showers. If you can get farther to the south and to the east, that's where the best optimal viewing is currently located. Here's the look at Columbia. They're dry, but again, kind of overcast with that cirrus cloud deck in the upper atmosphere. Jefferson City looks a little bit more promising, and as I mentioned, the farther to the southeast, places like Owensville, Lynn, Vienna, you should have almost picture perfect viewing conditions. By around 1 p.m., Futurecast showing that the cloud cover is still kind of hanging out in that northwestern region. Showers and thunderstorms expected to become a little bit more numerous by around 3 p.m., and they'll stay pretty isolated, at least through the evening hours. Now, obviously we have the eclipse to talk about, but I do want to give you the heads up that we could see some pretty strong storms late tonight, kind of during the overnight hours, quite a bit of rain as well. This is the look at 4 a.m. If you're leaving early tomorrow morning, maybe you out of towners, just a heads up, you may encounter some rain by around 7 a.m. After that point, kind of the late morning, early afternoon, we're still overcast, but rain doesn't look nearly as widespread or as intense. And with that storm activity tonight, could see 1 or 2 stronger storms. Here's a look at that. Marginal risk, winds about 40 to 60 miles per hour, isolated storms up to about 1 inch in hail. Now, I'm getting word that we're about to take a live shot from Oregon. We're going to get back into the forecast. Oh, there it is. Very, very cool. So this is a view from Big Summit Prairie in Oregon. This is one of the first locations that you're going to see totality. And it is really, really cool to look at.
Just starting to totally disappear here. You can see that line.
So we'll have to watch for those Bailey's beads, which is the last little bit of light kind of creeping around.
That's right there at the right, is
yep.
it not? Okay.
Let's see if it kind of shimmers on this video. And we'll also look for the diamond ring effect. You can hear cheers, people going nuts. Oh my gosh, and then it's gone. So I guess with the lighting of that camera, we can't necessarily see the corona. You will be able to, though, once totality sets in here, which we're still a little bit away, it's about 50 minutes to an hour, but once that totality sets in, there it is, oh my gosh. So this is a different view, I think, from a different partner, and they, I think, have a different filter on their lens, so you can really see that's the corona, that's the outermost. Yeah, so without those glasses, you can actually look at that. But again, what we're going to have to deal with is the second that moon creeps away from the surface of the sun.
That's when you have to put those glasses
Exactly.
on.
But what you're actually taking a look at, again, the outermost layer of the sun's atmosphere. You can't normally see that because it's usually shrouded in so much UV radiation and light. And that actually comes from the Latin word, I looked this up, of crown. So kind of a fitting name.
I took Latin in high school, you are correct.
There you go.
Now at this point, you can still have your glasses off, right?
Yes, so at this point you can. And this I would imagine is a pretty decent totality. They're not quite as long as we are. We get around 2 minutes and 40 seconds in the peak center line of our viewing area. They, I don't think, see as much.
You can already see it's starting to fade there.
A little bit, so we'll have to see kind of how this looks like. And yes, this is in Oregon. Not in mid-Missouri, but we'll be experiencing this in about 50 minutes or so.
Yes, as it moves at what, 1,200 some miles an hour?
Yes.
An estimate, basically.
Yep.
It's actually faster than that, but combined with the Earth's turning on its axis. That's kind of what it amounts to.
Yes.
Okay, now look
exactly.
at what we're seeing
so
on the
there you're
edge
seeing Bailey's beads again. They'll reappear on the opposite side, and that's the diamond ring. Oh my gosh.
That's when you had to have your glasses on before that.
Yeah. So once you start to see that, folks, you really got to put those glasses right back on. That is absolutely spectacular.
That's pretty incredible.
Oh,
just
my
a little
goodness.
sneak preview of what we're going to see
I
in
cannot wait.
just 50 minutes.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Will. Well, we continue our coverage of the eclipse coming after the break, and we'll also tell you what topics President Trump is focusing on when he addresses the nation. That's tonight. For our Eclipse 2017 coverage in a few moments, we want to bring you today's other top stories. For the second time in 2 months, a warship from the Navy's 7th Fleet out of Japan has collided with another vessel. At least 5 sailors are injured, 10 are missing. Meg Oliver shares the latest on the search and the rescue mission that's now underway.
The Navy says the USS John S. McCain collided last night with an oil tanker while heading to Singapore on a routine port call in the South China Sea. Video shows a gaping hole in the port side of the guided missile destroyer.
It's hard to envision exactly how crowded a waterway like that can be at night in the dark, waiting to come or go and trying to stay out of everyone else's way.
President Trump tweeted his support, writing, "Thoughts and prayers are with our U.S. Navy sailors aboard the USS John S. McCain, where search and rescue efforts are underway." Senator John McCain tweeted, in part, "Cindy and I are keeping America's sailors aboard the USS John S. McCain in our prayers tonight." It was June 17th when the USS Fitzgerald collided with a container ship, killing 7 sailors. Just last week, the Navy relieved the commander and 2 other senior leaders of their duties, saying inadequate leadership and flawed teamwork contributed to the crash. Both Navy ships, the Fitzgerald and McCain, are among those in Asian waters equipped with the Aegis missile defense system, mentioned lately as one of the tools that could be used to counter any potential missile launches by North Korea. The U.S. Navy, along with Singapore and Malaysia, are taking part in the search and rescue mission. Meg Oliver, CBS News.
That ship was named after Senator John McCain's father and grandfather. Both of them were admirals and were decorated for actions in the Pacific in World War II. No injuries have been reported from the tanker, and authorities say no oil has spilled. Well, President Trump will address the nation tonight about America's involvement in Afghanistan and South Asia. He'll be speaking from Fort Myer in Arlington, Virginia. That's at 8 Central Time. We'll be streaming that message live on KRCG 13. The Tal Afar Liberation Offensive is underway officially in Iraq. Tal Afar is the last city still under control of ISIS militants after the liberation of Mosul. Iraqi security forces, counterterrorism units, militia, federal and local police are all taking part in that operation. They'll also be backed by air power from international coalition forces with engineering and medical support on hand. A French official says a suspect who rammed his van into 2 bus stops in the southern French city of Marseille, killing a woman, is being treated for psychological problems. The unidentified suspect is 35 years old from the Grenoble region in eastern France. The official says specialists going over the van for clues about the suspect's motive as he was being questioned. Marseille police say terrorism is not the motive. Well, with just about 43 minutes until the total eclipse over mid-Missouri right after the break, we'll go outside to the weather deck where Will be joined by KRCG's Meghan Lang.
News for Columbia, Jefferson City, and the Lake of the Ozarks. KRCG 13 live at noon. We'll be right back.
Well, welcome back to our live Eclipse 2017 special. Our KRCG 13 Eye in the Sky flew in the area of Cosmo Park earlier this morning. And this is a look as the crowds were just starting to make their way to the park for eclipse viewing. As you can see, the sun was bright at this time. There was also a cloudy time, but the clouds were said to be high enough that it wasn't going to interfere with anyone viewing the eclipse. As you can see, there are merchants there set up for selling such things as food and also special items such as t-shirts. And the crowd was enjoying themselves with other activities, some outdoor sports, people were picking out their favorite places, and that's a nice flat area where people were able to look over see the sky and also see the horizon, which also is important from the eclipse, because it's going to be very strange, they said. You'll be able to see light on all sides, and it'll be dark from the very top. We'll be sitting in the darkness or standing in the darkness, but all around us you'll be able to see light, because it's only in the middle here, it's 35 miles in either direction, north and south, as far as where the eclipse ends. I want to welcome you back. We are live on the KRCG 13 weather deck. They're coming up on the weather deck momentarily for special coverage. And eclipse events across mid-Missouri have been in the planning for years. The day is finally here.
Hey Dick, we are right here on the KRCG 13 weather deck. It's for our special Eclipse 2017 coverage.
And as you can see, Will is on the way.
Missouri have been in the planning for years, but the day is finally here.
Yeah, and just to mention, if you are a more social media minded person, we do have a live blog on our website. It's kind of a social media live blog. And KRCG 13's Elizabeth Hoffman is going to be monitoring that as well. So she's in our newsroom. And
sure you tag us.
Yeah, and we're using the hashtag KRCGWX. That's usually our going hashtag
it's going right these days.
Any sort of weather-related thing.
Now, Will, earlier you walked outside, came back in, and you were giggling. Not to call you out, but a little bit like,
giggling.
you know, a 5-year-old. But it
Yeah.
was super exciting, and I said, what's going on? You said you could start to see it. So exciting.
Yeah, and funny story with that, I stepped outside really briefly before this newscast, and there was actually someone walking down our driveway here at the station, and he was like, hey, I'm from Oklahoma. Is this a good place to watch the eclipse? And so it's so funny how that works. Some people are literally just driving around, and I said, you're in New Bloomfield, you're in a really great location, and I said, maybe not right close to our building, maybe find a side road somewhere, but yeah.
So for somebody who has grown up loving science,
Yeah.
loving how Mother Nature works, what's this like for you?
You know, it's really cool. This is a really cool thing to experience in my first year of being a meteorologist, and it's cool to think about as well, you know, all the kids out there that are, you know, maybe going to get inspired by this. So I'd say, you know, it's just been amazing. I've never really honestly studied astronomy in college. It was all meteorology for me. I obviously have a basic understanding of most astronomical concepts, but this was kind of cool too, because I got to learn a lot through this process and talk to a lot of really, really smart people too.
Well, we are excited about all the coverage we have for KRCG 13 for our special eclipse coverage right now. KRCG 13's meteorologist Elise Smith is stationed at the Gans Creek Recreation Area in Columbia. But first we're going to go out to Cosmo Park and see what's going on there. There's a big party out there.
Yep, partial eclipse is starting. We'll go there now. All right, we are apparently in Columbia right now, and we're taking a live look at the partial eclipse, the view in Cosmo Park right now.
The eclipse, it's a partial eclipse right now. So explain what people will be seeing, what they're seeing right now.
Yeah, so partial eclipse, the surface of the moon is slowly working its way across, you know, it's in between the Earth and the sun. So we're slowly seeing kind of what looks like a shadow of kind of the moon working its way across the sun, but eventually it's going to do the opposite. So we'll see the moon shadow on the surface of the Earth.
And earlier you talked about beading?
Yeah, so Bailey's beads, that's what we're going to eventually see right before the eclipse starts. So that is going to be really, really neat. And apparently Kaylee is live in Cosmo Park in Columbia. I think we're going to go to her now.
Well, Megan and Will, I'm here at Cosmo Park in Columbia, where events are underway as the partial eclipse has begun. But this event has been months and even years in the planning. So right now, I'm actually joined by Meghan McConaughey from the Columbia Visitors and Conventions Bureau. Thanks for joining us, Meghan.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So how long have you guys been planning for this event?
Well, we first, heard about the eclipse really a couple of years ago and have been in hardcore planning stages for about a year. So this day is really exciting.
And what is in store for people that come out to Cosmo Park here today?
Sure. Well, you know, we're really pretty full. There's a lot of open viewing space. We're going to have some music going, and of course, Totality is in just about a half an hour.
And what is this turnout like? Is this anything what you expected, or could you expect anything?
Yeah, this is really kind of perfectly what I dreamed of. Not so many people that it became really overwhelming and overbearing, but also, you know, our parking lots are full. There's people all over the park set up with telescopes and tents and chairs, and it's just fantastic to see.
Yeah, and we've got music, we've got food. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. We had Noah Earl on earlier. We'll have AJ Gaither one-man bands go up after Totality, and we have like 10 or 12 food vendors, so they have been backed up, especially the snow cone truck. So they are keeping busy all afternoon.
So are things running smoothly so far today?
Yeah, so far has been really great. People here are just so excited to be here that they're super friendly and easygoing, and so we haven't had any problems at all. It's been fantastic.
And we've heard of people coming from all over the country and all over the world. Where's the farthest? What's one of the coolest places you've heard of people coming from?
Yesterday I actually talked to groups from Norway, Japan, and Italy, so that's just crazy. But a lot of people from Minnesota and Wisconsin is actually what we're seeing a lot of, so it's pretty incredible.
And what does this type of event do for the city of Columbia?
Sure, so you know, this is like a once-in-a-lifetime tourism event. Our hotels were packed full last night. All of those folks are spending money here at our town, and for a lot of them they've never heard of or been to Columbia before, so I think we're making a great impression, and I hope that means there'll be some repeat visitors.
All right, well, thank you so much, Megan, for joining us. We'll head back to Megan and Will. Thanks for joining us.
All right, Kaylee, it looks like fun out there. There are a lot of people out there.
Definitely. I can only imagine, you know, how many people are probably out there. I would love to get like a number, but I'm sure after this is all the craziness, you know, wraps up, I think we'll get some estimates.
Driving into work, the Cedar City, you saw on the soccer fields, the rugby fields, there were a lot of cars, and so it's just amazing that all these people descended on Jefferson City, Columbia, our area.
Yeah, Tommy Sladek was telling me on his drive into work today, there's a little pull-off, I think, near Ashland, and there's just some picnic benches. It's for people, I think, road tripping and things like that. And he said that he was driving through, and normally, you know, not very many people there, but there were like 50 people at 10 a.m. when he was driving in on a Monday, just parked there. So that was kind of cool.
We have a lot of coverage. KRCG 13's meteorologist Elise Smith is stationed at the Gans Creek Recreation Area in Columbia, and she brings us up to date from there. Elise?
Yep.
Okay, we had a little bit of a technical issue with Elise right now, but
Yeah.
we want to tell people we are out here ready with our glasses
We got
to
it.
check out the solar eclipse, and it's really important that you wear them. We can't stress it enough. That
Yes.
It's not just like, hey, we want you to buy something,
Yeah.
or you might want to wear it, you need to wear it.
Yeah, I was tweeting a lot this morning, obviously, and I had an account retweet me that said the eclipse, it was a
hoax?
A hoax. And I said, I don't know about that one.
No.
I don't think this is a hoax.
Yeah, your regular sunglasses, they won't do it.
Yes.
You need the ISO, right? The
Yep.
ISO approved glasses.
Let me
And when
look.
you put them on, we put them on inside the newsroom, you can't see anything. You could walk
Yeah.
into a wall potentially, and Dick Preston
I know.
jokingly did so earlier. But you will be able to see the sun
Mhm.
and the moon starting to cover
Yeah,
the sun.
and right now we're already starting to see the partial eclipse. I looked last, and it was probably about a fifth of the way covered. So
Yeah.
it's really just neat. You know,
It's
I'm just
crazy
in
how
awe.
fast it's going.
Yes.
Slow down. We want to
I know.
enjoy it. But
Definitely.
So we talked about at the beginning of this that Elizabeth Hoffman
Mhm.
is following our social media, and she's
Yep.
in the newsroom now to check it all out.
Megan and Will, that's right. And if you have one of these, a cell phone, a smartphone, that means that you can share your Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter posts with us, and you can do it very easily. Check out some of the things that people have posted online regarding this great event of the eclipse. The Montgomery County Sheriff's deputies are out in full force today on this eclipse day. Now, they have some extra deputies on I-70 today to help with traffic and any extra congestion that might be out on the roads. They do want to remind everyone traveling today to drive safe and stay alert on the roads and be patient with any extra traffic that might be out there. Check out this picture. It's our meteorologist, Will Haney, and Elise Smith. That was earlier today. They are obviously very excited for the eclipse. kind of like a Christmas day for them with everything that's going on. Now, all of these posts can be found on our live blog. You can get in on the fun as well. So what you do is just make any post to social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and you're going to add the hashtag KRCGWX to that post. Now we will see that and we will add it to our blog, and hey, you may even see yourself on TV when we add that to our coverage here. We're going to continue to monitor social media as this eclipse makes its way here to Missouri, and for now we'll send it back to you, Megan, and Will, back outside.
That's right. And we, as Liz said, that eclipse, the totality is still coming, but partial eclipse is right now.
Yeah, you're seeing it. And I believe it's on like the bottom right-hand portion of the sun that you're starting to see it. So really neat. And we're going to try and go back out to Elise. We had a few technical issues. You know, with all the people out at the parks and things, there's a lot of people fighting for the cell service. And so we're going to try and go out to Elise now. Elise?
Here we go. Third time's the charm here in the recreation area. So I found out that this area is actually the best area for instrumentation here in the Danforth recreation area. So I'm out here with my friend Bill from Tulsa, Oklahoma. He has actually been lucky enough to see the eclipse in North Carolina.
Again, a little bit of technical problems with Elise out there, but she has some great information that we'll hear coming up. But speaking of great information, we talked a little bit about these glasses that we're holding on to. Yes. Important to wear them. We don't have them on right now. We have a canopy over us, but that will move hopefully in a little bit so we can check it out. We'll put them on, but explain it's a big deal to wear these.
Yeah, and you know, another thing that's pretty important, I had a lot of people ask me about welding glass. Is that okay? And I honestly, you know, you can't verify welding glass, and actually most types of welding glass is not okay. This is actually stronger than welding glass. It allows you to look at just the light of the sun. So if you plan on watching the eclipse, doctors say it's important to wear proper eyewear, these. And if you wear, you know, polarized glasses, that won't do the trick. But an eye doctor actually spoke to Ashley Zavala, and he's going to explain what the internal damage to your eye, what it can look like in long term if you do stare at the sun without these.
Monday's total solar eclipse will be the sight of a lifetime. Local eye doctors urge spectators to take extra care of what's helping them see the 100-year event.
You can get a thermal burn on your eye.
Dr. Rick Fraunfelder is an eye doctor for MU Health. He explains what can happen if you stare at the sun for more than a second.
Then you get varying degrees of what is called solar retinopathy. And the very worst case scenario is you burn a hole in your macula, in your retina, which gives you your fine spatial discrimination, your color vision.
Doctors say it's important to wear proper eyewear if you're watching the event.
I probably stared at it about 30 seconds.
Fred Karst did not during a partial eclipse in 1972.
Both eyes, eclipse burns. And so basically what is that? It's like a flash photography. You see that little swirly thing after the flash. I see it all the time. It never goes away. A little worse in the right side than the left side, but it's always there.
If you're thinking about watching the eclipse with sunglasses, doctors say think again.
Basically, you want your solar eclipse glasses to filter out the harmful UVA and UVB, and also the very bright visible light, and regular sunglasses don't do that.
Fraunfelder says the glasses can come off for the total eclipse, but he says it's important to wear the glasses during the partial eclipse.
Coming out of full eclipse into partial eclipse again, and that's a pretty dangerous time. Because your pupil is going to be dilated when it's dark. And when it's dark and your pupil is large, a lot more sun rays can get into your eye and cause damage.
Doctors want spectators to have healthy vision as long as they will memories of the eclipse. In Columbia, Ashley Zavala, KRCG 13.
Doctors say if you get a thermal burn, treatment would mainly involve pain control. And they say that doctors can't really ultimately reverse the damage. And
wear your glasses. Moral of the story.
That's the bottom line right there.
Jefferson City has been preparing, as well as NASA. They're taking over the state capitol grounds today. Thousands of visitors are already in place in preparation for totality. Now, the total solar eclipse has inspired many to celebrate in a big way. Whether it's trying to time a wedding at the exact moment the moon will completely cover the sun, or just making it an event to remember with a huge party. So we'll take a look, and Stephanie Rada is out there right now.
Yep.
Good afternoon, Megan and Will. That's right. I'm here at the state capitol where there are thousands of people. You can feel the excitement buzzing. And I'm here with Mike Brandon. He's an official with NASA, and he's here to tell us a little bit more about why people are lining up right here behind us. So tell us about this exhibit.
Thank you, Stephanie. We're here from NASA Glenn Research Center in Cleveland, Ohio, and this is our Journey to Tomorrow trailer. It's filled with exhibits from a moon rock to a bunch of interactive touchscreen kiosks, giving you a lot of facts and figures, fun and games, questions and answers. We have some models of some of the new spacecraft we're working on, and we have our giant magic planet in the back, which gives a simulation of the solar eclipse that's going on today.
And it doesn't seem like the heat is at all stopping people from waiting online and wanting to check it out, right?
No, we've had a big line. They were here about a couple hours before we got started, and they'll be here probably until the end of the day.
I think there was a line starting at like 7 o'clock this morning, right?
They were here before I was here today.
Great. And so what are some other fun things that people can learn about that NASA has around the Capitol?
Well, around the Capitol, we have a lot of, we have a bunch of tents set up. We have our photo booth in the back where you can get a picture commemorating the day. We have a bunch of interactive experiments done by some of our scientists from NASA. So a lot of things to learn, a lot of fun and games for the kids, and the natural phenomenon is the big show.
Absolutely. And so yeah, me and Mike were actually putting on these glasses earlier, and we were looking up. It looks like a really cool glow, almost like it was like a glow that you would have in your room, like in the dark sort of, and it's really cool, like a nightlight. Yes, that's right. And so people can still come out to this exhibit until when?
Till 4 o'clock this evening.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, Mike, for joining us. We'll head back to Megan and Will.
Okay, we've got a live shot now of Denver, Colorado.
Yes. Let's head out west.
Yeah,
I think this is pretty cool. Okay, yeah, so Denver, I don't think Denver is in the path of totality. So they're in the area that's called the penumbra, which I think Denver probably set to see about 98 to 99% of totality, if I am correct. I'm not positive, but that's what you're looking at right now. The fingernail of the sun just creeping around the edge of the moon.
And
I
just
know.
the glowing effect that it has also.
Yeah, and we took the first totality out in Portland, Oregon a little bit ago, and we were able to see the corona, which are kind of the outer gases of the atmosphere of the sun. And once that totality hits, which I don't think we're going to see here, again, this is in Denver, you're taking a live look, it is just spectacular.
Earlier, I was talking with our news director, Matt Johnson, and we were talking about it's incredible because it was so bright on the way into work, and to imagine that it's going to be complete darkness and that this event is happening, it's so cool to be a part of.
I know, and we're kind of crossing our fingers that the temperatures drop a little bit because it is humid out here. We got a tent over us.
I feel a little cooler.
Yeah, we got a tent over us right now, so it's kind of limiting the sunshine, but we're going to take this tent off hopefully in a few minutes because we want to be able to see
check it out.
Once totality sets in, kind of a real time.
Now, Rod Smith is out at a golf course right now.
Surprise, surprise.
As
we
well.
find Rod at a golf course.
Yeah, we'll check in with him.
Hey, thanks a lot, Megan. This is a great golf tournament out here today, if you can keep your glasses on, that is. Solar Eclipse Day Golf. You know, I've been a part of this YMCA area golf tournament for the last 18 years, along with Lee Wilbers, who's also wearing the glasses. I can't see him from here, but I think you are.
I can't see you either, Roy.
It's Rod, actually.
Rod.
Roy's way over there.
Well, I know.
Hey, Lee, special tournament, and this is going to be crazy out here. It's going to get dark on us.
It is going to get dark. It's unbelievable. We've been doing this for 18 years, since 1999, and to have it happen on the eclipse, it's just unbelievable.
We have 4 golfers out here. A little preview of what we're going to be doing today, except it's not going to be light out here, but who do you have on Wall Street back here?
I have Shannon Brennicke and Jay Higgins.
Okay, we can see the golfers back here. They don't have their glasses on yet. They're over there, I believe. We also have Roy Rutledge and Amanda Reichel from the Quaker Windows organization. Now, we're going to give them the countdown. Guys, go ahead and put your glasses on. They've got about a 30-foot putt here. You're going to take the putt without seeing anything in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, putt. Lee, who's going to win this thing? You got to keep track of this thing. Ooh, somebody's got one pretty close. It looks like... Is that Jay over there on the far side? Is it? Oh, it's Roy! Okay. We're going to give it to Roy Rutledge.
Good job, Roy!
I didn't have my glasses. Roy, congratulations. How does it feel to be the Eclipse champion?
I can't. It's like being
perfect. I can't think of any other words to describe it.
Well, keep the glasses on during the day because that's going to be necessary, right?
I'll keep them up here during the day because I need that too.
But when the eclipse starts about 1 o'clock or so, we need to put these things on as everybody else does. Hey, we're going to have a great time out here. Eclipse Golf helping out the Jefferson City Area YMCA with at Meadow Lake Acres, just down the street from the TV station. I'll be back at 6 o'clock to show you how things worked out playing golf in the dark. Megan?
All right, thanks, Rod. Our KRCG 13 Eclipse 2017 coverage continues after the break.
We had a commercial. We did.
We're just checking it out right now. Got our glasses ready.
Oh
As
my
always,
gosh.
with any solar eclipse, atmospheric scientists are keeping a close eye on the event, and none more so than Angela Speck, who runs the astronomy department at the University of Missouri.
And yeah, Kermit Miller actually spoke to her. She is considered one of the top experts really in the region when it comes to eclipse science. So we'll go to that now.
Exhilarating and exciting.
A self-proclaimed nerd who surrounds herself with Star Wars as well as lunar landing memorabilia, Dr. Angela Speck has been consumed by solar eclipse planning for a long time.
And at this point, it's all I do. And it's a mixture of exhilarating and exhausting.
The Yorkshire, England native has co-chaired the American Astronomical Society's Solar Eclipse Task Force. She has pushed her scholarly research on stardust to the side to work exclusively on the eclipse.
It's not like this is the first time it has ever happened. What is the intrigue here?
We actually haven't had a total solar eclipse over the mainland US for nearly 40 years. So there is, more than one generation that doesn't remember that. And even that one was only visible from the northwest of the country. So the last time there was one that came all the way across the country was 1918. Then you look at Missouri. The last time there was one over anywhere in Missouri was 1869. And that was basically over Hannibal. There hasn't been one over this bit of the country, over this bit of Missouri. Mid-Missouri really hasn't seen one since the U.S. has been a country.
Speck is also intrigued by the idea that while environmental science has come under fire in American politics, people are fascinated by what's happening. And the availability of information over the internet, information not accessible 40 years ago, has exploded the desire to learn.
Is there any science left to be discovered here?
There are several aspects of science that we can do during it. The corona of the sun is its atmosphere, and there are things that we still don't fully understand about it, even though we've been observing it, through eclipses for eons. We know it's about 2 million Fahrenheit. We know that it occasionally throws things at us, and when it does that, it can also affect electrical grids. And so we want to understand it, but you cannot see it except during an eclipse.
In Columbia, Kermit Miller, KRCG 13.
I don't think so.
All right, thanks, Kermit. Well, after the break, we'll take you out to Columbia, where many thousands of people are enjoying the eclipse.
We've got the Eclipse Cam out in Columbia at Cosmo Park.
Yes, very excited. We want to go right to that, as it is kind of nearing totality, not necessarily hitting totality just yet. Still about probably 10 minutes away in Columbia. But yeah, you can kind of see it there. Looks a little hazy, and that's probably partially because of the upper level cirrus clouds that are in play. And cirrus clouds are actually suspended ice crystals in the upper atmosphere, so it doesn't necessarily block out the sunlight, but it kind of does create that haze effect that you're kind of seeing there.
Glow.
And right here in New Bloomfield, they're just very, very wispy, so we can see it pretty crystal clear. But as we head farther to the north into the west, that's where a little bit more of that upper level cloud cover is.
And we were just looking around out here in New Bloomfield that it's a different kind of feel right now,
It
different
is.
color, and you can feel a little more of the coolness. I don't
I
know if
know.
you can in your suit,
No.
but it feels a little cooler right now.
Yeah, and reading about this, obviously I've never experienced a total eclipse, but reading a lot of the testimonies of people that have been through them, they talk about this weird kind of almost like eeriness, and that's kind of what it is right now. The sky looks kind of a weird color of blue.
A little sci-fi like.
Yeah, very interesting.
There's that live cam again at Cosmo Park. That's our Eclipse 2017 cam. And like Will was saying, you've got the haziness of the clouds adding to the effect. And a total solar eclipse will be coming up soon.
All these just moon-related classic rock songs are coming to mind right now.
You keep having total eclipse of the heart.
You know that, and you know, when I put the forecast together, I tried to get all the eclipse mojo together. I did listen to Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd at 2 a.m. this morning. So
get you in the mood, get you ready.
Yes.
Speaking of ready, there are a lot of people out at Cosmo Park, along with parks across the area, and people pulled off just along the highway.
Yeah, and Zach Paul, he's here, and he mentioned that he walked outside and he's never seen so many people out in his neighborhood.
He's met a lot of neighbors.
Yeah, just people chilling on the lawn chairs out front. But anyways, we're going to try and go to Elise. She's at Gans Creek Park, and Elise, we'll go to you now.
Here in Columbia, and we are near totality. Everyone is buzzing here in the park. Now, this park is actually one of the best places for instrumentation. Earlier, we tried to interview Bill, so we'll hopefully get back to him because he's actually taking pictures of the eclipse. Now, we do have a couple upper-level cirrus clouds, like Will said, but most of the rain, I can see it behind my shoulder, and the good news is it's behind my shoulder, so we are looking at a good forecast here in Columbia. In Columbia, meteorologist Elise Smith, KRCG 13.
All right, so if you didn't know, we've been kind of mentioning this. This is the first coast-to-coast eclipse in 99 years, and the next coast-to-coast eclipse won't happen until 2045. So it's been a pretty long stretch since we've seen a coast-to-coast one, but it actually won't be nearly as long until we see the next one. So
we are just so fortunate that this is happening right here in our viewing area in mid-Missouri. We couldn't be more excited. I mean, almost like a giddy atmosphere. People are coming out of the station right now to check it out.
That's just because you're sitting next to me, too.
Because you're just so giddy?
I give off that vibe a little bit.
A cheese ball vibe as well. Thank you, Haney. Now, totality is coming in about 5 minutes, right?
Yeah. What time is it now? Yep. About, I would say 5 to 10 minutes. I would say 5 minutes if you're farther to the kind of northwest, but I think in Jefferson City, Columbia, we're about, I would say, 7-8 minutes away.
When we look up, we've been checking it out with our glasses on.
Yes.
It's just a sliver right now.
Just a fingernail moon.
And you're going to be seeing, explain to me, we talked about it a little bit ago, but tell me again about that beadwork that we'll be seeing.
Yeah, so right before totality, what you're going to see is the last bit of sunlight kind of creeping around the surface of the moon. And the craters, the valleys, almost the mountains on the moon, they create kind of a shimmer effect.
Okay.
And it will actually look beaded because it's hitting all the peaks and valleys on the moon. And so it gets this term, Bailey's beads. And then right before totality, a lot of times it'll all converge into one bright light. And I think it's on the bottom left-hand side of the moon when totality sets in. And so what that is called is the diamond ring effect, because with the kind of ring of the sunlight, it looks like a diamond ring. Yeah, and then what's really cool too is after totality, you'll see everything happen again, but in reverse time on the opposite side of the surface of the moon.
Now, earlier we saw a preview when we took that live shot. Was it in Portland?
Yeah, so that
incredible.
I was already excited, and then I saw the video out of Portland, and it was really, really cool.
Just the glow and how this just is a natural phenomenon. It's awesome. Look at that. That is a live shot of the totality coming.
Yeah.
That's at Cosmo Park in Columbia.
Yes.
We've got that live cam, which you can watch the whole thing with us as we take it all in. And we wanted you to tell us about your experience watching this. What's it like where you are? Show us you and your glasses and everything else.
Yes.
If you have any fun parties or anything, share everything with us on social media. We're excited to hear it. Elizabeth Hoffman, she is in the newsroom. She's monitoring the situation and monitoring your pictures and
so maybe we can feature them.
Yeah. And what's the hashtag we need to be using?
KRCGWX. The WX standing for weather, but that's our going hashtag for any sort of weather-related event. And one thing that's pretty cool, I just tried with my iPhone. You can actually take these ISO glasses, cover your lens, and if you can turn down your exposure, there is a way to do that on an iPhone. You can actually get a pretty decent, crisp picture. And so I got a little picture of the fingernail moon, and really with your smartphone, you can try. But what I will say, just a disclaimer, during totality, unless you're a professional photographer that has really been practicing for this, I would just recommend just take it in.
Yeah.
Look up. Look at we're going to see a 360-degree sunset around you. Just absolutely stunning. So just take it all in. That's what I would say.
It is stunning. We can see behind the camera, my mom is here visiting from St. Louis and my great aunt from Dexter, Missouri. And people have converged all on this area to take in this spectacular moment.
It's crazy, and we're still watching that sky cam, or not the sky cam, the eclipse cam. I'm used to saying sky cam for our weather forecast.
Yeah.
Yes, very, very cool.
We have reporters all over mid-Missouri. It's such an exciting time. 2 minutes until totality. And we couldn't be more excited that it's in our area and that it's not something that we have to then cover in our later news and say, this is what happened way far away.
I know.
We're part of it.
It's very, very cool. Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of, national news media and outlets across the country will be using, video from mid-Missouri. Very, very cool.
As we said earlier, NASA is at the Capitol grounds right now.
Yep.
They're monitoring the situation. I know there's a lot of science experiments going on.
Yeah, one
to see how
thing
things act.
from my perspective that's really interesting. So the temperature will drop once we hit totality. But the extent to which it's going to drop is a little bit of the unknown. So in some eclipses of the past, they've seen temperature drops of 15 to 20 degrees, but that has been mostly recorded in far northern altitude, or not altitudes, in far northern extents, like up north, like really north, where the air is just so dry that it can really fluctuate in temperature a little bit quicker. But because it's so humid, that water in the air, kind of just like it takes a while to boil a pot of water, it takes a while to fluctuate very humid air as far as temperature. So I'm thinking we'll drop about maybe 5 to 7 degrees in temperature, but it could be more. And the Mizzou Atmospheric Science Department, really, really neat. They're going to actually be launching weather balloons. I think they are right now. And this is crazy. I can actually feel. Can you feel that?
Yeah.
I can feel the temperature cooling off.
Eerie. And while we were talking, Will, our outdoor lights just popped on because they're reading it as evening. So it is definitely. It's kind of weird.
I know.
Isn't it?
It is.
How it's just really getting dark. Let's check it out.
I'm just looking around in amazement. So we are really getting close now to totality at Cosmo Park.
And
this is our eclipse cam. Yeah.
It's just a teeny tiny sliver.
Looks like a banana or a fingernail.
We have been talking about this eclipse when we first heard that it was coming in the area and everything.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like it's been more than a year that we have been discussing this, and for it to finally be here in all this hype,
I know.
I mean, it's coming true. It's
everything
we thought.
There were some eclipse haters. I'm not gonna lie. There were some eclipse haters that told me, they're like, I'm tired of you talking to the eclipse. But I honestly don't think you can hype it enough. This is gonna be so cool. And oh my gosh, look, Megan.
That is
Cosmo
so
Park
cool.
is getting really close. It's starting to get a little hazy.
There it is.
And I'm trying to take a quick photo with my camera.
Your smart camera or your smartphone?
Yes, and actually, like I said, if you cover it up with the ISO glasses, it actually works pretty darn well.
That is awesome. And there's going to be the glowing.
I don't know. So here's what's tricky. They might have to readjust our camera in order to see the corona. And it looks like we're just going to get total darkness, total black right here on our eclipse cam. So it looks like darkness is really setting in, at least in Columbia right now. And we're back.
Trying to take a picture and check it all out.
There's an airplane actually streaking across the sky now with the contrail going. Oh my gosh.
You can see it in the background, just our background here.
It's really starting to get dark.
It's green outside.
Oh my gosh. It's really starting to get dark. This is absolutely one of the coolest things I've ever witnessed. And
we're going to go out to Jeff City.
They're in darkness.
Yeah,
let's see
check
that.
It out.
This is so cool. Maybe we're trying to get to our live look in Jefferson City right now where darkness
we are in
is
complete
settling
darkness
in
right now.
I'm trying to get a video.
Crazy. Yeah.
This is absolutely so cool. Oh my gosh, Megan, look.
It is
live one.
Darkness.
We are live
Check
in
out
Columbia
right now.
That is the corona visible. Oh my gosh.
We are live in Columbia. That's the Cosmo Park camera.
So we are in totality right now in New Bloomfield as well.
This is crazy.
And this is absolutely one of the most fascinating things I have ever witnessed in my life. And I will never forget this moment.
No. It is so cool. We are so excited that it's here. And if you look behind us, you just see it looks like it's just
so we're witnessing the 360-degree sunset right now in New Bloomfield, and they probably are in Cosmo Park. They probably are in downtown Jefferson City as well. This is absolutely stunning. So what you're seeing, again, the corona, the outermost layer of the atmosphere of the sun. Very, very cool. You can't normally see that. And this is just one of the most spectacular things
It is incredible. And look at that. Oh my gosh, that is crazy. Just
Wow.
the glow of it. It is absolutely incredible right now.
Oh, and another absolutely awesome thing, if you actually look to the far kind of top right of the sun, you'll actually see a kind of bright star. That's Venus.
Oh, wow.
I'm not seeing Jupiter from what I can make out, but it is to the left, kind of the far left. We can't see that on this camera right here. It's a little bit too bright, but if you are witnessing this in person, I'm got a visual on Venus, definitely.
That is incredible. Just the glow of the moon. It doesn't seem real.
It doesn't. This is like something out of a movie almost.
I mean, we have been talking about this. I can't talk about
Look
it
how
enough.
dark it is
I
right
know.
now.
It's weird. We've been talking about this for months and months and months, and like you think you know what you're going to see, and you've been prepared for it, but nothing can
God.
prepare you that.
And
It's so cool.
do you hear the cicadas in the background and the crickets
Like,
chirping?
ooh, it's nighttime. Time to get up.
Yep.
They've got a rude awakening coming.
So
in a
one
few
thing I
minutes,
want to
though.
emphasize: the second we start to see light,
those
everybody,
clouds.
then we need to get
Put your
those
glasses
glasses
back
right
on.
back on, because you don't want to burn the retina of your eyes. Totality, the only time that you can take your glasses off. So right now, if they're in Colombia, they need to be putting their glasses back
Look at
on.
that. Just
Yeah,
that
so
little
that's
sliver.
probably kind of Bailey's beads, what you're seeing right now. Such a cool effect too, with those clouds moving by. Almost looks like smoke.
It's just so incredible.
Oh
So incredible. You can see those clouds moving by.
And it looks like at least for Cosmo Park, they had some pretty decent viewing.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
You
wow,
gotta put your
look at-
glasses back
look at
on
the
here
diamond
in
ring
New
effect.
Bloomfield. There's the diamond ring that we talked about.
Wow, that is so bright.
It's incredibly bright.
Zach Paul just said that's bright. That
We
is
gotta
very bright.
put your glasses back on because it's so strong that
Oh
it
my
could damage your
goodness.
retinas and permanently damage them.
Oh my goodness. You know what, Megan? I just can't. I can't get over that.
I know, and it's instantly
That was
getting
so
brighter.
cool. It is.
Look,
It's
I
instantly.
mean, it was pitch black just a minute ago.
It
I
was.
Mean, now we still have that green, eerie
I
feel,
know.
though.
Oh my gosh, that was so cool.
It's wild, and everybody in the station that could come out, except for directors and
Yes.
stuff, they have all come out, and it's Jeff City is incredible that NASA
Yes.
is there right now, and we have Stephanie Hirata who is joining us for a live report of how it's going out there.
Yep.
Hey, Megan and Will, we just saw the eclipse. It was crazy in totality. She was here right next to me. What did you think about it? She's a NASA official.
It was amazing. I've never seen anything quite like that. It was really impressive how the cicadas started chirping and we could see the vibrant auras of the sun. It was fantastic.
Perfect. Yeah, it was like really dark here. It got really quiet. We could hear the cicadas just going nuts. And you're also have your own booth with NASA, Kristen Spear, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my demonstrations that we're showing here are educational and fun for the family. They can do some interactive, hands-on exploring, just as we do at NASA, on different energy sources. As we know, the sun is the source of all life here on Earth and all of our exploration. We start with solar power when we go out into space, but at times like this, when solar is not an option, we have to look at other alternatives, and the radioisotope power system program is part of NASA's efforts to explore deep regions of the solar system where solar is not a viable option.
So how impactful is it when the sun is, being covered for just that 2.5 minutes?
Well, a lot of our solar panels aren't going to be giving the energy that they need to run. We believe that the temperatures have dropped at least 10 degrees, people were saying, and we could lose ability to do some of the science that we'd hope using solar panels. So we need to have other alternative methods prepared for those occasions.
And so at your booth, kids and families can come and they can just do a live demo, correct?
Yeah, they can plug and play and experiment, explore, see what they can come up with.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kristen. We do appreciate it. Let's head back to Megan and Will.
It's incredible. She was just in Jeff City in complete brightness again.
Mm-hmm. Just like that. And Elise Smith is in Colombia right now. We're going to get a kind of play-by-play of what just went down, so we'll go to her now.
Hello, everyone. So I got chills, and right before this, you could hear the cicadas outside. They actually thought it was nighttime. We did hear the insects here in Colombia. And right as the eclipse happened, applause erupted from everyone here at the Gans Park area. It was amazing. Then it fell silent, and we all took the eclipse together. It was
Okay, it seems we were just having some technical problems with Lisa's mic, but complete brightness, like
You know,
Jeff said.
and if you observed with your solar eclipse glasses, so, you know, we had the fingernail moon appear on the opposite side. Well, the fingernail light, I should say. And now I think we're going to go to try.
We are going to go out to Keeley Peterson at Cosmo Park in just a moment, but first let's take a look at what it looks like out here so we can explain to people. It's just the reverse of what happened moments ago.
Exactly, and so, yeah, we got that just little sliver of light right now. And honestly, you know, unfortunately, I think if you were farther to the northwest, again, there was some rain up in portions of Sheridan, Saline County. It was a little bit more overcast, probably not the best viewing, but here in New Bloomfield, honestly, these cirrus clouds, the upper level clouds, I think add like a coolness factor. Honestly, it makes it almost look like there's smoke in the upper atmosphere.
For you guys, for months, I'm sure it's been difficult. People come up to you and ask you all the time, what's going on? Is the weather going to work out? And I'm sure you guys are on pins and needles. Like, please just let all these people see it.
I have never felt more anxiety leading up to a
Good
forecast.
job. We will get you a raise, maybe. Maybe a piece of candy or something later.
Yeah, a piece of candy will do.
But for now, Kaylee Peterson is live at Cosmo Park, and she's there to tell us how everything went there.
Well, Megan and Will, totality is over. Everyone here needs to put their ISO approved glasses back on because the sun is reappearing. But that sky did go dark, and now a couple people are making their way out of the park now because they left right after totality did end. But there are people that still are sticking around for the music and the events and all the food. But again, totality is over, and everyone needs to start putting their glasses back on. I've seen a couple of people look at the sky without those glasses on. So yeah, totality over. Everyone put their glasses back on. It did cool down a little bit, but it's kind of warming back up now that we're back in the light. But for now, we'll head back to Megan and Will. Reporting live in Columbia, Kaylee Peterson, KRCG 13.
You were just talking. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that, you know, one thing I wish I had was like a digital thermometer. I forgot it.
Yeah.
I would have kept
I'm sure
the record.
we'll get the numbers coming, but yeah, that would have been cool. And, you know, Nashville, largest city in the path of totality, so it should be making its way to them soon, and we're excited about that. Check that out. That's a live look at Nashville.
Yeah, similar view,
closer
really.
to totality.
Yeah, so what's really neat is now we're going to be able to see all the live feeds. We get to relive it a little bit,
very cool.
which is really, really cool.
You know, we were just talking about, Zach Paul was here with us, not on camera. He's just hanging out with us.
He's geeking out in the
But he was just
background.
saying that a lot of people from out of town were asking more about what the weather's going to be like. And we bought another pair of solar eclipse glasses yesterday, and we were at the state fair, and this couple was talking about being from Texas, and they had just come, and the state fair was a good timing, same thing, and people were coming to fill the campgrounds at the state fair also to check this out. Look at that. Very
oh my
cool.
gosh,
It
there it
disappears.
goes. We just lived it. We know what it's like.
That's right.
We feel you, Nashville. Look at that. Their clouds actually look very, very similar to what we had here.
yeah.
So now they're in total darkness, it looks like, and they'll have to switch over their filter, and that's probably what the photographer here is trying to do. Oh, but look, they have a cloud blocking it, it looks like.
Oh, that's kind of sad.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Poor
sorry,
Nashville.
Sorry, Nashville. Oh.
Oh, man.
Well, maybe they can rewatch our video.
Yeah. Oh, man. So,
Kind of stinks.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to try again for Elise. She is out in Columbia with a live report. Elise?
Yes.
Hello everyone, so we are back here in Columbia. Now, as I said earlier, everyone got so excited right when the eclipse happened, and then we were all silent to take it all in. Now, I actually took the digital thermometer, sorry Will, and I measured about a 5-degree temperature drop during the eclipse. Now, I didn't measure it right before the eclipse, so it did drop a little bit, but at totality, during totality, it dropped about 5 degrees here in Columbia, and we will make sure we also fact check that with some other meteorologists. But as of right now, everyone is still sticking around for the whole eclipse. You can see everyone is around here. We're having lots of fun. Lots of people brought snacks and water, and everyone's just having a good time. We've met so many people from here. Just looking up and down the rows of cars, there are license plates from not only states within the Midwest, but states in the Southern Plains, the East Coast, the West Coast. There's some international travelers here as well, so it's been one big party. Now, something also that is special about the Gans Creek Recreation Area is that we have been talking to some of the people people who have instrumentation, and they say they researched for areas to put their instruments out, and they said that this area is the best place for instrumentation. So we'll maybe see some of that later, but coming from the Gans Creek Recreation Area, Elise Smith, KRCG 13.
All right, thank you so much, Elise. And coming up later, Elise kind of mentioned this, they're doing some different experiments, you know, astronomers trying to get a good kind of data set of the corona, the views we just took in. And later in the show, we're actually going to talk to an astronomy expert with NASA, I believe, which again, they're based right now in Jefferson City.
Right, about what they hope to get and everything else. That's all coming up after the break with our KRCG 13 Eclipse 2017 coverage. Our Eclipse 2017 coverage continues right now. Everyone along the path of totality has wondered about the crowds either exceeding expectations or disappearing entirely should weather conditions deteriorate. People very concerned about this weather.
Yeah, so late tonight we'll have some storms. So if you're doing any late night driving, especially farther to the north, maybe not the best idea. But certainly for now it doesn't look too bad, and we could even have a few stronger storms later on this evening. But as we mentioned, just all the experiments going on, I want to mention this. There are 60 weather probes, like little surface observation stations that Mizzou, I think, put out across the path of totality. So we'll get more data in the days ahead of kind of what that temperature drop looked like. They also launched 8 total weather balloons throughout, I think, the duration of partial eclipse and totality and all that. So I know I'm really excited as a weather nerd to get those data sets and just take a look at how that eclipse really impacted the temperature profile of our atmosphere.
We asked MU astronomy professor Angela Speck about the impact of weather on eclipse studies.
Yes.
If it's cloudy, if it's rainy, not only is that a concern to the Chamber of Commerce, but I can see that that's a potential concern to people who do what you do. Can you learn from this if you can't see it in the way you've described?
In fact, if it's cloudy, then we cannot get observations. It's one of those things that if it's cloudy, there's nothing you can do about it. There are a couple of things that are happening from different places along the path of totality where people are sending up balloons where they'll get above the cloud, and so we will get observations. Another thing to consider is that one of the things that happens as the shadow is moving along is that the atmosphere cools. The sun is blocked out, it gets colder, so we can have a 10-degree drop, and that generates wind, and it can actually blow out cloud. So if it's really thick cloud and it's raining, you're probably done for. But if it's kind of not too bad, then you can get the cloud cleared out by these winds coming in.
So there is atmospheric science to
Oh yes. So I mean, in terms of the science that we can do science on the sun because we're actually looking at the sun. We can do science on physics, on gravity, to do with how general relativity works. But then we can also do how is the atmosphere responding. Like I said, we cannot fake an eclipse. You can study a gas in a little chamber, but you can't study, well, what happens if you just cut off the energy source? You got funding from NASA to do some study, and then also what we call citizen science, where we're getting people to collect data, collecting the temperature data a couple of days before, a couple of days after, and during. And so, there'll be people all the way along the path delivering data to NASA to be able to study this. And then there's also animals and plants will react. And we know this. It's anecdotal in the sense that it's never been studied systematically. It's stories that we hear, but it's consistent stories. And so that animals behave certain ways.
All right. Elizabeth Hoffman, she's been monitoring social media, all of your pictures, posts, everything going on, dealing with today's total solar eclipse.
Yes, and I think we're going to...
That's right, Megan and Will. Everybody is excited about this solar eclipse. Now, social media has been buzzing all day, and especially during the eclipse. Let's check out what some people are posting online. You can see first, this is Megan Sanchez, our own KRCG 13 reporter, and her tweet of the sky during the eclipse. Another shot is of MoDOT. They tweeted this shot of the eclipse. That was about within the last 30 minutes. Now that was taken at their Jefferson City Central District office. Our own Katie Moeller tweeted this pic of Governor Eric Greitens. He received a Missouri Astronauts commemoration from 2 of our very own astronauts. They are right here from Missouri. And Rod Smith tweeted from the Eclipse Golf Tournament for the Jefferson City Area YMCA Golf Tournament. They say they are ready with not just their glasses, but of course also their golf clubs. Now we want to see your social media posts of the eclipse both before, during, and after. And you can also get a chance to add them to our blog here at KRCG 13. Just do a social media post, make your post, and at the end of it you can add hashtag KRCGWX. And we will add it to our blog, and who knows, you might just see it on TV. For now, we're going to send it back to Megan and Will.
All right, thank you, Liz. I can only imagine the Twitter feeds right now.
We were kind of just checking up as Liz was talking to see what was going on. A lot happening right now.
Yes.
And a lot is happening in Jefferson City. NASA is there.
And Stephanie Harada is live there. We're going to go out to her and talk, believe, maybe even talk to a NASA scientist.
That's right, Megan and Will. I'm here in front of the state capitol where the music is playing and everyone is just having a great time. They're checking out all the NASA booths and exhibits and just hanging out and just lounging out on the lawn. It's a really great time. It's weird that just a few minutes ago it was completely dark, completely silent. The cicadas were going crazy, and it was just a really just somber experience. And so coming up in just a few moments, I'm going to have Dr. Kavandi. She's an astronaut with NASA. She'll be able to talk a little bit more about what we saw and just explain a little bit more about it. For now, we'll head back to Megan and Will.
Let's see this. Oh.
Hello, we're back. We're getting our science experiments ready.
I know. I was talking to our cameraman. I don't think we're going to be able to see this, but if you have a Pinhole viewer, I did a tutorial a few days ago. This is a Pinhole Projector, so it has a reading glass lens on that end and a white piece of paper. And one thing that's really cool is that you can actually project the little dot of the sun. Josh, what do you think? Yes or no? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Thumbs down. Yeah, it's going to be a little tricky to see.
Explain to people what you would do if you had that.
So basically, if you have the cereal box, you have this version. They're slightly different. This one will just create a little bit bigger of a dot. But basically, you'll actually see the little dot of the sun. And right now, we're in the exiting phase of the eclipse.
Check it out.
And so, yeah, you'll be able to see the little kind of sliver of light right now. And in the next, 30 minutes to an hour, it's going to slowly decrease. Okay. And I think the total eclipse, well, the total eclipse already wrapped up. The partial eclipse will wrap up here in mid-Missouri, I think around 2:40. So that gives you an idea for when you're going to stop seeing kind of that moon between the Earth and the Sun.
We have more science experiments and kind of things going on. Elise is in Gans Creek in Columbia with more on that.
Hello, everyone. Yes, we are here in Columbia. And earlier we tried to introduce you to Bill. He is a professor of chemistry in Oral Roberts University in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And he was here all the way in Missouri for the eclipse. So, Bill, what was it like to experience the eclipse here in mid-Missouri?
It was pretty fantastic. My first and only other one was when I was 15 as a boy, and I have never saw it with my dad. I've never forgotten it, and so I had to bring my family and try to get some photographs of this one, and it was like what I remember, though everything is different. It was just pretty incredible.
Yes, so tell us a little bit about your telescope and photography instrument you have back here with you.
Well, I've got a 6-inch reflector and a 3-inch refractor. Both have cameras on them, and I set them up to take different exposures automatically because I knew I wasn't going to be busy playing with that. I was going to watch this thing.
Yes, that's very important. And you had your special glasses, right?
Yes, until once you get total darkness, you can take your glasses off and then you put them back on. So, yeah, I was so busy looking through my telescope, which has got a filter, so I didn't have to worry with the glasses because I wasn't looking at it. But it's just a spectacular sight. For those of you, if you ever get a chance to see this thing live, go halfway across the country and do it. A total is nothing like a partial. Order of magnitude difference.
Yes, well, thank you so much, Bill, for joining us. And this is here in Columbia. This is Elise Smith at KRCG 13.
Man, his soundbite, commercial worthy. That is so true. Drive to one. It's awesome.
Yes, I will definitely, I think, be marking my calendars for the next one.
You'll be an eclipse chaser.
Yes.
All right, that's it for now. We will have more on the total solar eclipse 2017 after the break. Go back out to Kaylee Peterson. She's at Cosmo Park after totality already happened, but the partial solar eclipse is still going. So we want to check in with her.
Well, thanks to Meghan and Will. Totality in Columbia, Missouri has come and gone, so those eclipse glasses need to come back on. I'm actually joined by the Director of Ophthalmology at MU Health, Dr. Fraunfelder. Thank you for joining us today.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
All right, and what is the importance, even after totality passes, that people have these ISO-approved glasses on?
So the harmful sun rays are still shining down at high intensity UVA, UVB, visible light, and infrared light, and still your sunglasses are not good enough to block those rays. You still need your eclipse glasses, not just now during the partial eclipse, but actually when the eclipse is over, the sun will still be shining brightly down.
And what kind of damage can this do to your eyes if you look up at the sun without those glasses on?
So fortunately, damage is rare because most of us would not stare at the sun. Pain would signal us not to look at it. But if you do stare at it for 2 or 3 seconds, you can burn a hole in your retina. We call it solar retinopathy. And that leaves a permanent blind spot in your vision that is not correctable.
And is that pretty rare? Is that something that doctors are expecting to see more after this eclipse?
It's rare. I think that we will, around the country, see a few cases of it. In my residency and all of my residents who we train, they will have all seen solar retinopathy in their careers, so it does happen.
And do you have any other tips for anyone to keep their eyes safe for the rest of the day?
Well, it's not just staring straight at the sun. The sun rays also cause surface eye lesions and skin sunburns, which leads to cancer. So sunblock, sunglasses, and hats. I always believe in that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right, well, remember to put those ISO-approved glasses back on because totality is over. We'll head back to Meghan and Will, but for now, reporting live in Columbia, Kaylee Peterson, KRCG 13.
It is definitely a lot brighter out here right now.
Yeah, definitely. We're starting to warm back up a little bit.
Yeah,
and hopefully you wore your sunscreen. And we're going to now go to a recap video of totality as it happened. Yeah. We did have photographers obviously recording it all. So
incredible.
This I believe was
correct?
was that corona, and really neat. And it almost in Columbia, I think with that the cirrus clouds in play did make it a little bit more hazy. Here in New Bloomfield, it was pretty much crystal clear. I mean, we looked up at it and it was
incredible. We sadly took to that video in Nashville.
I know,
and
right as it happened.
Right at the time.
I know. I don't think we had too obstructed of visibility.
Look at our view, though. Again, that's from Cosmo Park in Columbia. That is where we have a photographer out. And you will see this view on feeds all across the nation from mid-Missouri. Because look at that. Ricardo Montgomery, our photographer out there, he did an awesome job. It's just incredible. If you didn't see it, I highly recommend watching it over online because incredible.
So, Zach Paul, he just looked up some data that already is coming in. He said that there was a recorded 4-degree temperature drop in Jefferson City and a 6-degree drop in Columbia, but that's 5-minute intervals. So we'll have to go back through. That's kind of preliminary, and whether or not they confirm whether it was more than that.
Incredible.
Wow.
Absolutely incredible. It's like
so that's
smoke.
with
You said that earlier. It looks like smoke, those
it
clouds.
really does. And I don't know if that looks like a different camera maybe or a different shot. That is. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that was as it ended. And again, you can see the light appearing on the top right hand of the moon. Really neat.
If you weren't able to get outside, we want to explain our view a little bit. It was almost like a green haze.
Yeah, and we saw exactly what I was reading about and exactly what I communicated to everyone else, that 360-degree sunset. Really neat. It wasn't, exactly like your typical sunset, but certainly kind of that effect.
Cool. The cicadas came out. It was crazy.
Yes.
And we have a story about 4 friends who have been waiting decades to see a solar eclipse together.
The hair may have changed a lot, but the laughs, the friendship, and the bond have not changed at all.
As soon as we see each other again, it could have been 6 months, it could have been 6 days. It's like no time has passed at all.
Elena, Mary Rose, Danielle, Amy, and camera shy Holly have been this close since February of 1979. They were freshmen in high school and learning about solar eclipses by watching the last one at their all-girls school in Trenton.
On August 21st, 2017, there would be the next total solar eclipse. Amy wrote it down,
And so we said, you know what, if we're still together and we're still friends, we're going to have a total solar eclipse party.
38 years later, and the group is making good on that promise. Different colleges, marriages, moves, and kids didn't stand in the way. Now calling themselves the Solar Sisters, the five are gathered at Elena's home in Hamilton to finalize details for a trip to Missouri, where they expect a perfect view of the eclipse that seemed so far away all those years ago.
It seemed so futuristic at the time, and they say, oh my God, we're going to be so old, but here we are. And we didn't age.
Not at all. No. I think it's just an example of the longevity of female friendships and how we bonded so much when we were 14 years old and have seen each other through so much of life's ups and downs.
They say they are looking forward to seeing solar history, but this girls' weekend is more about reliving memories, making amazing new ones, and fulfilling a promise five girls made to each other nearly 40 years ago.
Very cool story.
Yeah, it's so fascinating. I love hearing all these eclipse stories. You know, some people getting married, and some people even skipping work. We're working, but you know, I wouldn't trade this for the world.
Kind of a rarity today.
Yeah, a little bit. I know a lot of the state employees, they got off, but others, Liz Hoffman spoke to, who are actually just, I think, just skipping.
Just skipping.
Jennifer Webb spent her Monday doing what she does most weekdays. But the Monday of August 21st, the Holt Summit Salon owner has different plans. The moon is expected to cover the sun for 2 minutes, creating the first total solar eclipse in Missouri since 1869. Jennifer says she won't be cutting hair that day.
It won't happen again for a really long time, so I think it'd really be a neat experience.
While she's aware of the many area festivals, Jennifer says she plans to be with family for the event.
I will either be spending it with my parents, having lunch, watching it on the farm over the bean field, or hopefully, possibly seeing it at my son's school with him and his classmates.
Not everyone has to schedule time off for the eclipse. Holt Summit City Hall will close from 11 to 3 so employees can enjoy the experience.
I don't want the employees to miss this event, to stay open. And there's no reason for us not to close for a few hours for a once-in-a-lifetime event.
Holt Summit and the community are invited to celebrate the solar eclipse at Greenway Park.
Cooking hamburgers and hot dogs, and, you know, chips and sodas and things like that.
Rick says he's looking forward to nighttime in the day.
The birds will start going to roost, the temperature will drop, the street lights will come on.
In Holt Summit, Elizabeth Hoffman.
Something the kids will always remember, something happened.
There is a lot going on. We will have an interview in Jefferson City from all the festivities after the break. In downtown Jefferson City for the total solar eclipse.
Yes, super cool. And Stephanie Harada has been there the entire time, and now we're going to have an interview with a NASA astronaut. Stephanie?
That's right. I'm here with Dr. Janet Kavandi. She's an astronaut with NASA, and she's here to tell us a little bit about what she thought of the eclipse. You were here at the state capitol watching it. What did you think?
Right. That's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I mean, I've seen a lot of really neat things, having been in space, but I've never seen an eclipse in space. So this is my first time of seeing a full, total eclipse, and it did not disappoint.
Wow, and I've heard that as an astronaut you've seen a lot of sunsets and sunrises, and so how is this comparable?
Well, in space you go around the Earth every 90 minutes, so you get a sunrise and a sunset 16 times a day. So it's kind of hard to keep track on whether it's daylight or dark. I mean, it's daylight and dark, but nighttime or daytime, when should you sleep? But this is a completely different experience because we have the sun and we have the Earth and then we have the moon passing in between, just in a perfect alignment so that the shadow fell right on top of Jefferson City today and many other places as it passed across the United States. So it's a really unique experience for millions of people today.
And it was pretty interesting how everybody just got quiet, right?
Oh, they got really quiet, and then they started to cheer because, I mean, it was such an amazing sight. I mean, just to see the very black disk and then this glowing circle around it, and then when the moon started to pull away, you see the bright flash of light, then it looked like the diamond ring like you hear about, and that really happened. I was just blown away by that. It was just so cool.
Well, thank you, Dr. Kavandi, for sharing your insight. We do appreciate it. Now let's head back to Meghan and Will.
Okay, Stephanie, this is definitely a day in the history books. We've had so much fun covering this. Incredible, absolutely
yes.
incredible.
This is something I will never forget. and I will always look back on this as just something that was absolute magic.
Stunning. And we have reporters across mid-Missouri kind of collecting different tidbits from here and there and seeing how everything went overall. We will have all of that tonight on KRCG 13 live at 5 and 6. We hope you'll join us. There are going to be great shows. But first, we want to recap and show you the magnificent event that happened earlier today. This is from our camera in Cosmo Park. Ricardo Montgomery, our photographer, he shot that. An incredible view.
Yes, and this is what we will leave you with as you head throughout the rest of your afternoon. Enjoy the rest of the eclipse. It's not over just yet. You can still enjoy it.
Stunning. Have a great day. We'll see you at 5 and 6.